There's a pattern, and I don't want to be a part of it.
You're headed for disaster, and I refuse to let that happen.
They're gonna survive. They're gonna have to do it on their own.
We got some news about Rocco's mom.
If anybody's gonna tank this case, it's gonna be Christina.
You will pay for what you have done.
Wait, if Robert is Sasha's father, wouldn't the DNA test she did using her hair for Cody have shown some connection to the Scorpios? I mean, hello science. Also, I'm betting Christina was probably threatening Ava again. Shocker, right? That girl never learns. Honestly, Christina needs therapy, like inpatient level therapy at this point. I do love the twist that Sasha is Holly's daughter, though. The fact that Sasha originally came in as a con artist pretending to be Nina's kid, combined with Holly's brief 2020 cameo that got derailed by COVID, makes me think this was always part of the plan. The drama was just put on hold. I'd even guess that's why Sasha and Cody ended up together, because they're setting up a bigger storyline. And if Luke turns out to be Sasha's father, well, Tracy's going to love that. Cue more Tracy versus Sasha resentment. Nice work, GH. But if Holly is really her mom, why didn't Sasha mention this last time Holly was in town? Like, are we just supposed to ignore that glaring plot hole? These storylines are getting so convoluted. Seriously, Holly being Sasha's mom? No thanks. Now we're stuck with Holly forever. And if Robert is her dad, then she and Cody are cousins, which makes their relationship gross. Yeah, no. I'm still wrapping my head around the idea of Holly being Sasha's mother. Does that mean Robert is her dad? Because if so, Cody's her cousin, and this just keeps getting weirder. And why did Sasha keep this whole thing under wraps? Who's the father? Luke? If so, congrats to Lucky and Lulu. They've got a new sibling. Or is it Robert? Which means Robin suddenly has a new sister. Also, side note, when is Molly going to stop blaming everything on Christina? It's getting so old. Girl, get some therapy and move on already. Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel, Messy Syrup. It's me, Abby, here. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Keep watching, so let's dive into today's video. Oh look, Molly doing what she does best, giving her partner yet another reason to hate Christina. Go ahead, girl, dig that hole. I just cannot wait for the day she loses Sam and tries to mend fences. Fingers crossed Christina slams the door in her face and leaves her hanging. Sweet, sweet karma. Also, can we talk about how everyone in Port Charles knows Holly? And yet Sasha's somehow never mentioned being her daughter? Really? It's like the writers threw this together last minute. Because, come on, that makes zero sense. I'm sorry, but I refuse to believe Sasha is Holly's daughter. Didn't she show up in town claiming she didn't know her family, except for her grandmother who raised her? And let's not forget the time Holly waltzed into town, looking for that crown thing Cody was chasing after. Did she visit Sasha? Nope. So, where was this mother-daughter bonding moment, exactly? Honestly, at this point, why not just make Sonny Sasha's dad? He's already knocked up half the women in Port Charles. He could pull the "I was off my meds" card and boom, problem solved. Besides, he calls Sasha family, so might as well throw that into the mix too. And for the record, Sasha being Holly's daughter was definitely not on my 2024 bingo card. But hey, anything's possible in Port Charles. Meanwhile, let me guess, Christina's threatening Ava again? Because why not? Maybe she should quit shining a spotlight on all her drama before she blows up her life and everyone else's again. So, is anyone else getting the vibe that Holly is pulling another con on Sasha? Because I'm not buying this whole "I'm your mother" thing. Honestly, I wonder if Holly's even telling the truth at all. Feels like classic Holly, right? And please, GH writers, do not make Sasha Roberts' daughter. I actually like her with Cody. Someone brought up a good point though. What if the reason Sasha's DNA didn't show a match when she tested Cody's hair to protect Mac is because Robert and Mac aren't actually blood-related brothers? That'd be a nice twist, but can we also make sure she isn't Luke's or Bill's daughter? Because remember, she had a thing with Michael, and that would make them cousins. Gross. Just make her Leopold Taub's kid or a random person, please. Can anyone come up with one valid reason why Holly would say this just to keep Sasha and Cody apart? Just one. Other than the fact that Holly's a habitual liar, of course. Also, Sasha can't be Robert's daughter. If she were, she would have shown some kind of DNA match to Mac, since, Mac and Robert are brothers. They don't have to be twins for her to be a partial match. So yeah, that whole theory is dead in the water. And speaking of wild storylines, how are they planning to kill off Sam? She's not surviving that liver donation to Lulu, is she? Anyway, back to Holly. She's obviously lying about Robert being Sasha's father. It's either because she wants Robert back, or she's hiding the fact that Sasha's dad could be one of the many villains in Port Charles. Victor, Cyrus, Faison, take your pick. But one thing's clear, Sasha's DNA has no Scorpio in it. For all the folks who claim they remember GH history better than the writers, why is everyone losing it just because Holly said Sasha's Robert's kid? Did we all forget the paternity test? If she were Robert's daughter, she would have been some kind of match to Mac, period. Relax. Holly's a professional con artist, remember? Let's not forget when Sasha's hair was tested to check for a familial connection between Mac and Cody. It came up negative, meaning she's not related to any Scorpio, not Mac, and definitely not Robert. So no, Sasha and Cody aren't cousins. Either Cody isn't Mac's son after all, or, shocker, Holly's lying. The DNA test already proved Sasha and Cody aren't related, so can we please move on? Honestly, my hope here is that Holly is flat out lying. How about this twist? Sam and Finn crash. Sam ends up in the hospital with her ventilator failing, and Finn gets a new face courtesy of a new actor. Meanwhile, Sasha finds out she's a match for Lulu, which means, surprise, her father's not Robert but Luke or Bill Eckert instead. Now that would be something. But seriously, this whole Holly is Sasha's mother thing makes zero sense. Like, where did this even come from? Sasha's backstory was all about her being raised by her grandmother after her mom, Amanda, died. If this is true, why isn't Sasha having an actual conversation with Holly about it? Instead, it feels like we're all being dragged into another con. And where exactly was Holly when Sasha was drugged, lost her son, and went through absolute hell? Now she shows up to claim motherhood. Something doesn't sit right. If Holly is really Sasha's mom, then she's clearly just using Sasha to keep Robert and Diane apart. Classic Holly, always stirring up trouble. If Sasha has any sense, she'll quietly do a DNA test with Cody and not tell anyone until she gets the results. Seriously, avoid the drama and figure out the truth before this blows up in everyone's face. I do hope Tracy steps in and helps Cody get what he wants, though. This whole storyline about Holly claiming Sasha and Cody are cousins is laughable at best. It's just not believable. Meanwhile, Alexis and Jordan really need to butt out of TJ and Molly's relationship. They're adults, let them handle their own issues. Now about Serenity Ranch. Did anyone else remember that it used to belong to Leopold Taub, the guy Cody thought was his dad? He was in a loveless marriage with Dominique, apparently, so what if he and Holly hooked up during that time, and Sasha was the result? Makes more sense than this Scorpio nonsense. And with the ranch now up for sale, it'd be pretty poetic if Sasha turns out to be the rightful heir and uses it to help Cody. Oh, and by the way, can we please leave all the hate and political drama off this GH site? It feels like people post stuff just to stir the pot, and it's exhausting. I'm guilty of defending my own beliefs, but this was supposed to be fun, remember? Let's stick to the stories and leave the nonsense behind. Rick might just be doing his job as Ava's lawyer, but blaming Christina for the accident and Irene's death, absolutely unacceptable. Christina's pain was clear as day when she spoke to Rick and Ava. she's devastated. Alexis, of course, gave her typical tough love advice, warning Christina that her behavior will decide the outcome of the case. Meanwhile, Molly and TJ are on the same page, both worried about Christina's mental state. They know it could impact their chances of holding Ava accountable, and they both believe Ava caused the accident and the baby's death. On another note, Dante and Sam are busy telling the kids about Lulu's new hope, but now Scout is all worried about Sam's safety. Because, let's face it, nothing is ever simple in Port Charles, and as if things couldn't get more tangled, it looks like Robin just found out she has a new sister, Sasha. Yes, Holly dropped the "you're my daughter" bombshell on Sasha, and oh, by the way, Cody's your cousin, so that relationship? Yeah, it's over. And cue the inevitable. Sasha will probably end up pregnant in the middle of this chaos. Because why not? Oh, and can I just say, I cannot stand Holly. If she really loves Robert the way she claims, why does she have a revolving door in and out of his life? At least she finally admits she's a terrible mother. Where was she when Sasha's baby died? When Sasha's husband died? When she was spiraling into addiction or locked up in a mental facility? Nowhere. She was too busy Hollying, aka, scamming her way through life, while her daughter was falling apart. The only reason Holly's in Port Charles now is to dump her ill-gotten gains and play her usual games with Robert. Classic. Meanwhile, can someone explain to me why Drew, who has zero experience running a company, and Michael, who's been at it for, a few years, are suddenly more qualified than Ned, who has lived and breathed the business his whole life? Sure, Ned backed Valentine, but let's be real, Valentine hasn't exactly hurt the company. This whole thing makes no sense. Dante casually mentioned that the donor surgery is happening in 2 days, so brace yourselves for suspense next week. Any guesses on what kind of chaos is coming our way? And Robert is the dad? Seriously, GH, what are you thinking? All this time, and now Robin suddenly has a sister. I mean, Holly is basically a walking disaster zone. Every time she shows up, it's nothing but trouble, and now she's dragging her grown children into it. This story is getting wackier by the minute. Lulu being the surrogate, and now this mess. So who's going to be Dex and Gino's dad while we're at it? Oh, and don't forget, Holly just confirmed that Cody is Sasha's cousin. Great. As for Lucky, he couldn't donate because of a parasite he picked up while globetrotting in those sketchy places. But what about Nicholas? Why didn't he pass the second screening? What's the excuse there? Now, let's take a quick biology lesson, shall we? Sasha can't possibly be Luke's or Robert's daughter. If she were, that would make her related to Michael, who she was in a relationship with, and Cody, who she's currently dating. Talk about a recipe for incest. So let's speculate on a different father, shall we? When Sasha called Holly mother, I have a feeling she was just being sarcastic. I mean, who wouldn't? They probably pulled off a con together at some point, and now Holly needs help stashing her diamonds. Who better than 2 former cons, Sasha and Cody? I'm betting she's looking to them for assistance in some shady scheme. Question: could Tracy's recent treatment of Sasha be tied to the writer's apparent plan to connect Holly and Sasha? I mean, is it possible that Luke, Tracy's one true love, could actually be Sasha's father? Because let's be real, Tracy's snobby behavior towards Sasha feels completely out of nowhere and utterly unprovoked. I generally like Tracy, but come on, Sasha is way too good to put up with her nonsense. It'd be fantastic if Sasha finally stood up for herself, told Tracy off, and walked away. I'm sure Nina would happily find her a more suitable position where she wouldn't have to deal with that snobbishness. And speaking of shady schemes, could Sidwell's and Holly's diamonds end up funding Cody's dream? I can totally see Cody and Holly teaming up for a little con, because, of course, nothing says family bonding like pulling a heist together. So I'm curious about this potential Diz pairing. I've been catching some clips of Dante and Elizabeth at the hospital lately, and can we just take a moment to appreciate the chemistry they seem to have? I mean, sure, Rebecca Herbst has chemistry with almost everyone, and I said almost, her and Finn were a major snooze fest for me, but the more I watch Dante and Liz interact, the more I'm intrigued. I love how she calmed him down and even let him snap at her before he realized he was out of line and apologized. There's something there that makes me want to see them develop a relationship. They're both down-to-earth people with good heads on their shoulders. They love their kids, have solid jobs, and are hardworking. Plus, they both have ties to the Spencers, him through Lulu, her through Lucky. They could really understand each other better than most. Sure, he's got that whole mob tie because he's Summy's son, but Liz isn't exactly a stranger to that world either. Hello, Jason. Plus, Dante has always managed to walk that fine line without dragging his family into the chaos. Honestly, if we can't get Liason back together, I'd much rather root for Diz and all the delightful messiness that would come with it than even think about Ella 2 again. What do you think? I'm all ears. Is it just me, or would you actually keep your liver? I mean, I get it's all part of the storyline to kill off Sam and bring Lulu back, but I can't imagine being all gung-ho about donating an organ to someone who's been in a coma for years. First off, what's the point? That liver might just keep Lulu in the coma longer, and let's be real, the risks of surgery are terrifying. If it were someone alive and kicking who needed it to survive, sure, I'd consider it. But for my boyfriend's ex, that's a hard pass for me. But I get it, she's doing it to save her stepson's mother. Rocco's a sweet kid, and I can understand why she'd go to bat for him. I suppose I'd do the same thing to keep a child I loved from losing a parent, even if that parent was in a coma. That said, she feels like she has to do it. If Lulu dies and Dante finds out she could have saved her, it's game over for their relationship. So, in a twisted way, saving Lulu is her only shot at keeping Dante. It's a pretty lame storyline, to be honest. I'm not the biggest Sam fan. I only enjoy her when she's off on adventures, but this is a ridiculous way to potentially write her off, in my opinion. Honestly, if I'm being real about this, I don't know what I'd do. I've never faced a situation like this, and I think it would take being in that kind of pickle to figure out if I'd rise to the occasion or freak out about my own life. I'm already risk-averse, so I definitely need time to think and hear all the risks involved. As for Sam, I totally understand her dive-right-in attitude once she got the green light. She's not just doing this for Dante or even Lulu. She's been Rocco's de facto mom for years, and she'd do anything for him. So, where on earth has Lucky vanished to? Has he even paid a visit to Bobby's grave yet? I really hope he does, if only for Luke's sake. Plus, it would be the perfect excuse to throw in some Lucky or Bobby flashbacks. Honestly, I'm already missing that nostalgic vibe from a couple of weeks ago. With the treasure trove of Spencer scenes from the 90s, you'd think they'd use them more often. I'm also curious if we'll get a Lucky and Sam scene anytime soon. I actually liked GV's Lucky with Sam, but I'm not sure how well JJ and Kim O would mesh together on screen. He was popping up most days for about a month, and while I don't mind that he's been Mia for a few days, I'm sure he'll make a grand return soon enough. Drop your thoughts in the comment section below. Do you agree or disagree? Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more updates. Your opinions matter, and I will see you in the next video. Thank you.